There are some killer action sequences in this film that have taken a lot of planning.
If you're a storyteller, it has the same potential as the imagination. We were like, let's go huge and imagine everything we can.
Are those flying boots?
They use the force of gravity, redirecting it into differential equation slopes that you can surf.
Yeah, I heard gravity and surf.
It was clear that it was a very large universe that they pictured. They like to have a good amount of prep time to generate ideas. We were beginning tests with stunt material. They wanted action sequences that were both exciting but felt very, very real. We built a huge half pipe in Berlin to start figuring out body languages.
We were training in Germany on the biggest ramp ever built, trying, some crazy trick with a wire, with a special machine that makes us fly in the air.
We didn't know how Caine was going to move and use these gravity boots, try to figure out what that looks like.
In some of the way they work, they generate kind of friction to gravitational force. It's not quite enough power to literally jetpack off and rise up into the air.
They're not flying boots, they redirect the force of gravity, so what does that mean?
One of the reasons for building a skate ramp was that you generate real momentum and physicality, that it's not just somebody hanging on a rig. They really move and have to move themselves.
You just try something, they set up a shot that they like, and then you're like, okay, you see what you can do. And you do one, they're like, okay, we really like that one, maybe try and really look like you're surfing.
If you can twist at all.
So it's an ever-evolving process of the boots.
They do like that process of being able to kind of see some ideas, realize that even they may be surprised by something new sometimes. Development, conceptual design stuff was very transformative in some ways for them because we did a lot of location work. We were trying to find something that felt different.
Where am I?
You're still in Chicago.
It was super exciting to really shoot for real and significantly in Chicago, a city that's extremely beautiful.
The architecture is extremely important to Chicago.
It has a number of great angles. Everywhere you look can really be great backdrops for whatever you want, whether it's dialogue or action.
All chases are usually super high sun, daylight sun, or nighttime because you need all of that time because the chase has so many pieces and so many parts.
We hit upon this look that looks like you've treated it, and yet it's actually real. It's the color temperatures mixing.
Because the sun has a clear, low angle into the city, there's this moment where the light ends up glowing.
We shot a lot of time lapse to look at what the city was like in different lights.
We took John Toll up to the top of Willis Tower, only about 5 minutes before the sun breaks. We watched it and it was like glorious and beautiful. And he's like, yeah, wow, looks great, amazing. What do you want to shoot here? Like establishing shot of a kiss scene? And we said, we want to shoot the chase.
Hold tight!
The shadow chase, to me, it was a very exciting combination of real photography in terms of plates, real stunts. It spanned all the way to suspending 2 stunt actors from a helicopter and being flown through the city streets of Chicago.
Because we wanted it to be real, so we were flying real stunt people, and we took Mila and Channing up there, and we shot with real live humans.
They're very sensitive to digital animation of whether it's human beings or characters that lacks the real weight and physicality.
This chase scene is made by the fact that we have 2 people hanging by this helicopter. You can feel the weight and the way their bodies react and break apart and catch, and then little bits of detail where their boot flies in a certain direction.
You look down, you're like 40 feet above ground, or like in the middle of Chicago on a crane, underneath the L train, like swooping by, and you're hanging like backwards, upside down.
It's the real life actors doing it. It's not some CG pixels doing things. It's me and Mila getting thrown around and ripped back and jumping off stuff, or a stuntman. Because you can always sort of tell.
We think there's just something that you react to as an audience when you see a live human sort of in the jeopardy of hanging from a helicopter that you will never ever achieve with CG.
I love to fly in the air, and to fly in a museum of London like that, it's just crazy, amazing. The jump that I will do here from that balcony on my rollerblade, we've been calculating the exact speed, the angle of the jump. Of course, it's always scary the first time when you actually have to do it here. The speed, the guards, and then, and then the jump.
Awesome.
Until now, I always been working here on the movie with wires. So if something happened, they are there to pull you. But here for the first time, there is no wire.
Much as they wanted to shoot the stunts for real, it had to be kind of broken out into components. And we achieved a lot of those on a green screen stage back in London.
Yeah, that's cool. Try to hold it for the spin. Yeah, like 67% of the fall.
I don't know if you're ever ready to be hanging on a wire 35 feet for, 16 hours a day.
Go!
I got very lucky. A lot of our riggers are from Oz, so I've worked with half of our rigging crew.
We built numerous rigs that involved treadmills that were pitched at different angles and placed separate to each other so that the stunt could be on skates and literally skate and then leap from one surface to another.
They're like, do you skateboard? Do you rollerblade? And I'm like, no, not really.
And 2, and 3, and 4.
I've had a crash course in rollerblading because I like to do all the wire work stuff because that was fun. But the skating stuff was just really coming slow. And then for whatever reason, it was one day, I just didn't take the skates off for an entire day. And then I did that almost every day, that if I wasn't at the wires, I just put on the skates and just lived in them.
It's that butterflies and Tootsie Roll.
Working on stunts and stuff on the film and seeing him up on these extraordinary wires with rollerblades on, with these sort of treadmills suspended in the air. I mean, the guy learning to rollerblade like he's something out of Starlight Express. I mean, I've never seen anything like it in my life. Next thing I knew, I was suspended about 30 meters in the air, doing somersaults through the air on a wire in a grav trough. And I just remember being up there, suspended, going, sorry, Andy, Lana, what exactly is a grav trough? What should I be? How should I be sort of floating, moving? Which I thought was quite a bold idea, but the second that someone's swinging you at sort of 50 miles an hour through the air, I mean, the idea of controlling any movement is completely out of the question.
There were 2 little baby steps in there. Can you just do 1 step, plant, and then spring?
We involved trampolines, we involved wire rigs and pulls. All sorts of things that we could come up with were pretty much unique per shot or per setup.
I had to think a lot to try to advise them how we could build some ramp, improve the cable, and the crew that here are just the best in the world.
Me and the stunt guys over on C stage, we called C block, and we were just grinding away, trying to come up with new stuff. We followed the previs that they gave us, and then we've elaborated on that.
He's coming at you like this, like this, like this, and it looks like he kind of starts leaning forward, and he kicks, and that's what sort of brings him around.
And we have to try to do that physically. And that was 7 months of that. And we all left literal blood and sweat over on that stage. It was hard.
We just keep filming things and hoping that it works out.
We did some stuff on this film that I don't know how we even did it by the end of the day. Like, some of it was completely rehearsed and like tried to do it, and then other things we were just shooting from our head, almost couldn't replicate it once we did it once.
You sure you don't need another version, or maybe a triple Lindy off of there? Something like that?
They're adults who love comic books, and they're adults that love sci-fi, and they kind of live in that world, and they want to let everyone experience what's in their head and kind of make it be tangible and make it be palatable.
It's always interesting when you sit down with directors, especially visionaries. Even the words that they use or that they're explaining it to you or you read in a script never ever really add up to what actually comes together in the movie.
In a lot of ways, this movie is about pulling together many of the things that they've learned over the last number of years with films into something that's a very complex visual experience.
Watch this.